What's up guys, my name is Ace, and it's launch week for Black Ops 7, and today we got a bunch of details regarding the new endgame game mode that you unlock once you complete the campaign. And this is turning out to have a whole lot more depth than I initially expected with this mode. I thought this would be a very light mode, essentially just a really basic survival style mode or something like that. But it turns out there's a lot more to it, so let's dive into this. Like I said, you do have to complete the campaign to access this, or you could join up with a friend that has completed the campaign. As long as the player host has unlocked endgame, then anybody else can join them. And with it, it will be a pure PvE experience. So while there are up to 32 players, with each squad having up to 4 players, you can't actually deal damage to other players and they can't deal damage to you. So it's kind of similar to like Modern Warfare Zombies with Modern Warfare 3, for instance. However, the key difference here is the enemies have guns. They're not zombies, they're actual bots with guns. And there are various different types of these bots. They describe them as enforcers, deadeyes, raiders, and other guild mercenaries. So they'll have different abilities, different health levels, and effectively different difficulty levels fighting against them. And this experience takes place on the entire map of Avalon, which is going to be a future Battle Royale map for Warzone. And within this map, just like in Modern Warfare Zombies, there are different zones with different difficulty levels. As you increase in number with those zones, the enemies are going to be getting a lot more difficult. So you really want to like level yourself up before moving into a higher tier zone. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. Now with this, before you dive in, you actually create your loadout, and these loadouts are specific to the co-op campaign. So it's not going to be overlapping with your multiplayer loadouts. And you have 4 operator slots available. So 4 different loadouts that you can create. And with this, you get a primary weapon, a melee weapon, a field acquisition, which is a weapon you found in a previous endgame match, and a piece of field equipment. So this could be things like throwables, for instance, it looks like, and perhaps some field upgrades would be mixed in there as well. Now on top of that, you choose 2 abilities, a major ability and a minor ability. And here's a list of the major abilities. We've got the Ballistic Shell, which deploys an energy shield that blocks incoming enemy fire. We've got Active Camo to hide yourself. We've got the Hand Cannon if you want to be more aggressive with that. Crash Cart, which instantly revives down squad mates within range and provides temporary invulnerability. And you can also use it as a self-revive. We've got Vision Pulse to see enemies through walls. The War Machine. Shadow Break, which is an energy warping field that teleports and damages enemies, and then finally the Drone Pod, which we've seen in the multiplayer beta as a field upgrade. Then for our minor abilities we have to choose from, we have the Grappling Hook, the Portal Grenade, Kinetic Jump, which is that insane jump we've seen in some of the trailers. It's not available in multiplayer, which allows you to teleport a short distance, Supply Link, and then finally Black Hat. So you choose 1 major, 1 minor ability, and throughout a match, as you continue to get kills and things, you will level up your combat rating and you earn new skills and power upgrades across your armor, health, speed, and damage. Now, in addition to that, there are various skill tracks you can level through as well. And you can do this by completing objectives, uncovering intel, and defeating enemies. And every time your combat rating levels up, your operator is given the opportunity to choose one of 2 skill tracks or skills. And here's a layout of all of these skill tracks that we'll have available and the skills within those skill tracks. And there are quite a few of them. So I'm not going to read through every single one of these, but just as an example here for Gunner. With this, we have access to improved reload speed, faster armor replating, faster weapon swap, auto refill for our ammo. There's also one called Aiming Expert, which gives you improved accuracy when aiming and speed to fire when jumping, sliding, and diving. And then finally, there's Shocking Reload, which is an ability that allows you to create an electric damage discharge that will damage and stun nearby enemies when you reload. And the emptier the magazine when you reload, the stronger the effect will be. Like I said, that's just one skill track example. We also have Surgeon, Daredevil, Tactician, Berserker, and Bulldozer. So lots of different skills that you can level through. And like I said, every time you increase your combat level, you'll be provided the option to choose between one of 2 skills. So essentially, when you first dive into endgame, you're starting at 0. You've got none of these skills, but over time, as you level up your operator, you become more and more of a super soldier, which better equips you to deal with the higher tier zones. Now, the catch here, similar to Modern Warfare Zombies, is if you die at any point, you lose all of the progress that you've made on that operator, and you're starting back at 0 again. However, if you manage to successfully exfil, so you have to go to an exfil zone and activate it, and then there'll be waves of enemies that come that you have to clear out, and then you get on the VTOL and exfil. If you do that successfully, you maintain all of those levels that you built up, so when you drop in the next time with that operator, you're not starting at 0 again, you're picking up where you left off. So this means the progression on this is a bit more of a long-term thing. It's not just each match is its own different thing where you start at 0 every single time. It seems like you can spend quite a bit of time leveling up your character, and as long as you keep exfilling without dying, that operator will keep getting more and more powerful to the point where you could just straight up drop into a match in a level 4 zone right from the beginning because you're carrying all of that power that you've built up in previous matches. So definitely tons of similarities to Modern Warfare Zombies from Modern Warfare 3. However, they're taking the progression on this and like leveling up your character to the next level. So it's not just about the loot that you find in the match. It's also about building up the power of your character itself. On top of this, they did confirm that we're going to have our own challenge track for this. We're going to have daily and weekly challenges that are specific to Endgame. And also there will be a mastery camo for the campaign, and campaign also includes Endgame. So if you're interested in that long-term grind in this mode, you've got that available, and it's going to have its own set of mastery camos. Now, in addition to that, there will be shared progression with all of the other modes. So when it comes to player XP, weapon levels, battle pass progression, you can do all of that in this mode, and it will carry over to multiplayer, for instance, or to Warzone. So just like with Zombies, it looks like this is going to provide a great place for a more laid-back grinding experience. If you're just not in the mood to be highly competitive in multiplayer, but you still want to make some progress and level up a gun, well, you can hop into this mode and just kind of take things at your own pace and continue progressing that weapon. And that's the general overview of how Endgame works. And like I said, I was actually quite surprised to see there was as much depth here as what was laid out. And I actually think this is a very interesting mode, and it's actually going to get me to complete the campaign this year. And that's something I don't often do for Call of Duty because I dive straight into multiplayer, and then I usually just never really get around to playing campaign because my primary focus is multiplayer. But I definitely want to check out Endgame. And from the sounds of this, I think there's a lot of potential for this to be quite popular. I think there's been a recent trend where a lot of people have been getting away from the PvP aspects of shooters. I think a lot of that is due to how a lot of like modern matchmaking systems work, making it really unenjoyable often to play in parties with friends that have a mixed skill level. Or just in general, I think the skill gap these days is quite high between people that have been playing FPS games for decades at this point versus people that are just hopping in for the first time. And therefore, I think this has really led to the rise of PvE experiences in recent years. And I think this is actually going to provide a place where for many people, this could be their main experience with Black Ops 7. If they're just not into the more competitive nature of multiplayer, this is looking like a much more laid back, more social element of the game that you can kind of just take at your own pace. Like, it does seem like things can get pretty overwhelming and extreme, but you decide if you want to put yourself in that situation. However, there's one thing that I am kind of curious about with this, and that is, what is your long-term goal here? Like, once you get to the highest tier and you fully level up your character, and let's just say you've also completed the Mastery Camo, for instance, what does this mode offer to really keep us around beyond that, long-term? My hope is that we're going to see some like limited time events that take place within the experience, and maybe you get some unique rewards for completing those events. I think something like that could really lend itself well to replayability as we get new seasons and mid-season content, for instance. But time will have to tell on all of that. At least on the surface, based on what we've seen so far here, I'm really liking what I'm seeing here with Endgame, and I can absolutely see myself playing this on the side when I'm just not in the mood for multiplayer, for instance, or if I'm looking for a more laid-back social experience. This is going to be excellent for that. Now, is it going to be my main mode? No, absolutely not. I'm still primarily looking forward to multiplayer, but I will definitely be completing the campaign just so I can access Endgame, and I'm sure I'll be coming back to this mode fairly often throughout the year based on what I've seen so far. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about Endgame now that we have all of this new information? Is this something you're really looking forward to playing, or maybe not so much? If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.